frustrated, angry, just overwhelmed with people's comments and everything going on in the media today. Have you been feeling that? And so, my question to you is, are you reacting or are you responding? Right? There is a big difference between reacting to what's going on in our world today and responding to it, which is the reason why it's necessary for us to be able to know the difference, for you to be able to come up with the tools that you can navigate during this difficult time. And that's all that we're going to be talking about today. My name is Diana Patton, and I am with the Rise with Diana consultancy, and of course, the founder of the Rise Advocates Movement. And in this movement, we are all about understanding our power. And first, I want to go off and say this: power is not proven, it's embodied. Okay. I don't know if I've been muted. So I'm going to back up, and I want to be able to share with you that the reason why a lot of people are unable to live out their purpose, they are unable to do their great work, is because they are reacting to every single situation around them. They are not realizing that they actually have power within them to respond accordingly. Not sure when I went on mute. However, I want to share that when people would tell me to calm down, or they would tell me that they're looking at me strange, or they have a funny face, that would just deter me. That would distract me. And it would make me realize I need to get back at them. I need to be able to say something back at them, because all of those were triggers for me to get angry and to get upset. And so I, really felt like I could not respond accordingly, because I was so wrapped up in getting back at them. So the criticism that I felt, especially towards family, I reacted really harshly. It really did impact me. And so I realized that I was giving my power away in those circumstances. I wasn't embodying the power that I knew I had. And so, are those things, does that relate to you? Is that something that is something you deal with, right? That's something you deal with. So, I just want you to know that, because a lot of us are not realizing that we're doing that, and especially in this time period. So, what I want to give to you is, I want to give you what I would call ways that you can reclaim your power. But before I do that, I want to tell you that I learned during a particular season when I was struggling. I was struggling during the 2020 time period, when a lot of things were going on. We had Black Lives Matter. We had a lot of division that was outward manifestation. We had COVID. I really took a lot of things to heart. And there were people in my circle who were saying things, and I was like, whoa, wait, what? And a lot of you can know this, because we began to chop people off. We began to put people over here, and we began to divide. And that was by design. Because when I say by design spiritually, because there is a new evolution afoot. And the evolution is to have us divide so deeply and to distrust anyone, that it causes us to realize that we're out of control, and to lose out on any opportunity for us to be able to reclaim our power. And we often don't even know that we have power, because we're reacting to every single situation over and over and over, reacting, getting distracted, react, distract, react. And there's no ability for you to be able to get grounded and rooted into who you are. And we are really just now discovering, through science and through mainstream science and technology, that we as humans have such deep power. You have to understand that the technology that we are seeing nowadays, the only way that people are learning of this technology is through human discovery. One of the discoveries that a lot of the technology is figuring out is that within all of us, we have these little things called atoms. And these atoms have actually these little molecular structure that act as antennas. These act as antennas to the body to tell it to respond in certain ways. And as a result of that response, the body knows to release certain hormones and certain types of byproducts within our bodies and in our brain and in our hearts to do certain kinds of things. There is a whole solar system, there's a whole intermolecular system within your body that really can do miraculous things if you learn how to control it. And often what we're seeing is that people don't have control. There's a lack of control that people have within themselves, and that results in emotions and behavior that will lash out, that will go crazy. And what we do know is that with technology, we can take what the human mind and the human body can do, we can put it in technology, but it doesn't have the feelings and emotions and the ability to forgive and the ability to perceive empathy, right? And to understand what that's like. That's what we have deep within us. The issue is that we need to control it. We need to control it. And so I started to discover that I have the ability to do this, but it has taken me quite a bit of time to figure out a path that I can do that. And so, as a result of a recent altercation that I had with someone that I know now was a person who taught me a lot about myself. And I created this passion method, this passion framework, which stands for pausing, assessing, analyzing yourself, getting some space, and then speaking, right? Which gives you the ability to pass on blurting out your first response, to pass on taking everything personal, pass on passing on, not understanding what's really going on, and pass on lashing out and canceling people. This passion method then allowed me to be able to gain insight, to stay in curiosity, to be open enough to listen, and then to learn, to gain knowledge. And that is exactly what's been happening with me. And it's something that I've been teaching everyone is my passion framework. So what I want to do is I want to give you, and that's one element, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's one element of how you're going to be able to take back your power. And this is the passion framework is what was developed as a result of me having this altercation with someone that I knew, a friend. And so what I learned is that a couple things. When you react, and I'm going to put this in here because I want you guys to be able to see it. When you react, you know what you're doing? You are giving your power away. All right. So that's something that you need to know is that when you react, you're giving your power away. So, how much power are you giving away on a daily basis? What if you were to be able to count during the day how many times you negatively responded to someone? What if you were to be able to count that? How much power are you actually giving away? I wish there was this quotient, like this metric that I could use that says, okay, at the beginning of the day, right when you wake up, you have this much power, right? It's like a battery. And every single time that you react to something, that power actually goes away, right? And in order to be able to get back your power is what I'm going to teach you here in a moment. And the next thing that I want you to know is that when you respond, you know what happens when you respond? You are choosing presence over pressure. Okay. So let me go ahead and put that up. So when you respond, you're choosing presence over pressure. You know how to be in pressure. You know how to go towards that and not crumble. That's what I want to teach you. And that when you start to kind of understand how to do that, your entire life changes. Your relationships improve, your financial situation improves. Believe me, I want to share. My husband's a financial advisor. And one of the things he knows right now is people are really stressed out. They're pulling out, they're reacting to the situation, and they're not responding with a strategy and with a clear metric of how to move forward. That's the reason why my husband does very well with people in their wealth. I mean, by the way, unselfish plug, that my husband just was named as the Forbes Advisor of the Year. That's patent wealth management. Little plug for my husband. So the other thing that's going to improve is your health, right? Because you're going to learn how to control the biological hormones within your body. You're not going to be reacting to situations. You're going to be responding in a way that's very strategic, that's very harmonious for your body, and you're going to have a healthier mindset. All right, so let's get into what I would like to call three ways to reclaim your power right now. Okay. So here are the three ways that you can reclaim your power right now. First is identify what or who is triggering your reaction. What is it that is triggering your reaction? A lot of you don't even understand that, right? I told you that when someone would tell me to like calm down, or if family members would say something to me or look at me a certain way, these things, and this is my own husband would do certain things that would drive me insane. And I'm still working on this stuff, right? But the thing is you got to identify it, and you need to get clear on what is triggering you. And we all know this to be true because you cannot change something that you're not willing to see. So you have to be able to do that. Okay. The second thing that I would love for you to consider is to know your F. So obviously, we are humans, and so we live with certain types of reactions to certain things, and our bodies naturally do this. And I like to say, are you which F are you operating in? Are you fighting? Are you fleeing? In other words, running away from a situation? Are you freezing, meaning like you're just, stuck in a situation and you cannot get out of it? Or are you a people pleaser, a fawner, a person who's constantly trying to overcome someone else's feelings? So, this is the thing that I need you to identify. So, first, let me get it back into this. The first one, of course, is to identify what it is that is, oops, let me go back here, is to identify what it is that is triggering you. What is your reaction? Know what you're fighting up against. Then know how you react. What is it that you do? And these, by the way, these Fs are natural for you. They are natural ways in which you respond. They're there to keep you safe, and that's a good thing. So, but you need to know what it is. All right. So, the third thing, as I said before, is the passion method, right? And I'm linking here in the notes, you'll have a link to the passion framework that I mention all the time, that I actually just briefly mentioned at the beginning of this live. And it's there to help you as a frame to live your life. Like, what if every single time you felt this F coming up, you know that this phone call could result in this? All right. So this F then comes up and you feel it, but then you start implementing the passion method. You start really taking time to pause, to assess, get some space, and then speak so that you can pass on blurting out your first response. You can pass on taking everything personal. You can pass on making assumptions that you know everything that the other person is thinking, because you don't. A lot of you go, well, they think that. You don't know that. You only know that because that's what you think. And it doesn't matter at this particular point how that all plays out. It's what's going on in your mind. And then speak, right? So the speaking part is where you really need to know how to do that, right? And then after you pass on doing those kinds of things, then you gain the insight. The I is insight, right? The insight begs you to be curious and to be intuitive and perceptive of the situation, right? Then as you gain the insight, you're going to become more open to listen, be quiet, open to forgive, open to understand, seek to understand, then gain knowledge. The thing is that y'all don't know what's really going on here. And the knowledge that you need to start to have in this 2025 time period is completely different than the knowledge that you needed in 2020, in 2018. Everything has changed because of artificial intelligence. And this conversation is for another day. But I do want to let you know that you have to understand this passion method. You have to understand this frame. It is not something that you do. It's just not a framework. It's a lifestyle. It's something that I want you to begin to implement into your life every single day. Does this make sense? I am here to help you understand that your power is not proven, it's embodied. You have to understand this. So I'm going to leave you with this. Are you reacting? or are you responding? This is the key. When you learn how to do this, you will change your life forever. So I want to share this with you, that I want to help you start to rise. I'm reading to you, by the way, from our weekly downloads every single week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have a download message that we give to our subscribers. So we encourage you to subscribe to our community. And what I want to share with you is we want to help you. If you are a corporate woman and you are listening to this and you're like, I need to get this type of knowledge, this type of energy into my life, then I would suggest that you get your application in to the Rise Advocates Academy. Our next Rise Advocates Academy begins April 24th. And here's where you can register to get yourself signed up for the academy. And don't delay. I mean, that's right around the corner. So we would love for you to be able to come in for that. Then the second thing that I would suggest that you do is, I mean, if you want to say, I'm not sure if I'm ready for the academy yet, well, join me for a webinar tomorrow. So yes, we have the academy starting on Thursday, but you also can join us for a free webinar if you just want to be able to learn what's going on in their community and you just want to take a toe-in approach. Yeah, go ahead, join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but go in and register yourself. There's register, and then there's registers, plural, for the webinar. So we would love for you to come in and join us there. That's what I want to share with you today. And I just want you to be able to know that you can respond in the right way. And when you respond, you're choosing presence over pressure. I want you to learn how to get in this pressure and overcome it and rise above it. That sound like a plan? All right. Well, I hope to see those of you who want to be able to come in tomorrow for our free webinar, April 24th. That's a Thursday, and we'd love to see you there. Okay. That concludes today's live. I'd love to hear from you for those of you who are going to watch the replay. I'm going to have to edit this video, but we'll have you watch the replay and hope to see you on the inside.